Now Democrat senators are joining the riots. Alex Padilla, the senator from California, got handcuffed inside of a federal building this afternoon for lunging at a cabinet secretary. Kristi Noem was in Los Angeles giving a press conference about the riots when the senator barged in and ran at her, yelling and screaming.
Guys, ready? And bell. Sir, hands up, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your hands off.
How many of our ICE agents have been docked?
On the ground. Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you don't my hands, go ahead, put them behind my back.
All right. Cool. Other hand. Lay flat. Lay flat.
Other hand, sir. Other hand.
Democrats must have known about the stunt ahead of time, because within minutes, Newsom yelled dictator, and Congress burst out of their offices.
I just saw something that sickened my stomach. The manhandling of a United States senator. We need immediate answers to what the hell went on.
As if made to kneel before the authority of the executive, because he was so-called disrespectful. If you could make Alex Padilla forcibly kneel before this executive, when does it stop?
As a combat veteran, I want to know what this House is going to do, but because a senior senator was attacked, illegally attacked, and drugged to the ground.
MSNBC's acting like Trump fired on Fort Sumter.
This is a big escalation of what has been happening in California. Born to immigrants, he himself is the pride of much of the Latino community in the Los Angeles area. To see him manhandled in this way, like a common everyday protester, is going to be particularly jarring for many who are watching from California.
The senator wasn't arrested, wasn't charged, didn't go to jail, but was able to arrange a press conference immediately after.
If this is how the Department of Homeland Security responds to a senator with a question, you can only imagine what they're doing to farm workers, to cooks, to day laborers out in the Los Angeles community and throughout California and throughout the country.
Was he almost crying? I think he was. Noem says if he wanted to ask her a question, he could have just called.
You know, I had a conversation with the senator after this. We sat down for 10 to 15 minutes and talked about the fact that nobody knew who he was. He didn't say who he was, that until he was already had been lunging forward and people were trying to detain him for quite a period of time. And that this, you know, we're leaders, we're public servants. And if he had requested a meeting, I would have loved to have sat down and had a conversation with him. That coming into a press conference like this is political theater.
The FBI says Padilla never identified himself and wasn't wearing his Senate security pin. And no one recognized him because no one knows who Senator Padilla is. He's the least recognized senator in the entire Senate. I'm sorry. So a guy wearing street clothes barges into a press conference just yards away from a cabinet secretary and starts lunging at her and screaming. Secretary Noem's security saw him as a threat, and he pushed the federal officers back. He could have been a stalker, an impersonator, or any yahoo off the street. Trump was just shot. You can't have random people lunging at cabinet secretaries. These are the people who say no one's above the law. They arrested Trump 4 times and charged him with 94 crimes, but they think being pushed out of a room crossed a line? Come on. Anyone else would have been treated the same way. Police were just doing their jobs and removing a protester, and now Democrats want to hold hearings.
Will you commit on the record to subpoenaing Kristi Noem because a U.S. senator was just thrown to the ground and detained in his own
Democrats can't follow the rules, can't follow the law, can't follow the rules.
Shut up. Just shut up. No, you don't. No, you're not going to tell me to shut up.
How do you get him in order? You're running for
not like that.
He has been out of order 6 times. He's trying to get on MSNBC. You probably knocked.
I get it.
somebody off MSNBC to get on there.
I think as he's been arrested as a former Antifa member, right?
Back to order, Ms. Green. Go.
He's a former Antifa member, Mr. Chairman.
You got
no
it.
surprise.
Who's a former Antifa member? Me?
Yeah, you.
Now, we don't know what was in the water in D.C. today, but Bobby Kennedy should test it. Padilla is trying to act tough for his base, raise money, and get handcuffed so he can call Trump Mussolini. They'll spit this clip out, and the media's going to run with it, but it's not going to get any traction. No one takes these people seriously anymore. The man looks like Code Pink, and men should never act like that. Lunging at women, screaming hysterically, close to tears. Get a hold of yourself, Senator. You're a member of the world's greatest deliberative body. You're supposed to move the country through soaring oratory and eloquent speeches. Or you write laws. That's literally your job, to write laws. He's going loco. Tampon, JB Back Ribs, and Hochul were all on Capitol Hill begging for Homan to arrest him.
If Tom Homan comes to Albany to arrest me, I'll say, go for it.
If Tom Homan were to come to try to arrest us, I can say, first of all, that he can try.
Democrats say Trump has an enemies list, but they're all begging to get on it. Who begs to get on a dictator's hit list? Exactly. They don't really think he's a dictator. They just want to pretend to be human shields for illegals. Tampon says we just don't know history.
I don't call federal law enforcement officers Gestapo. You were recently quoted. Where's the apology?
Donald Trump.
Oh, no, Donald Trump didn't. Listen, Donald Trump's not here.
Yeah.
You are, Governor.
Yeah.
You're a big boy. Put your big boy pants on.
I would ask, don't wear masks. Identify who you are. Don't pull up an
Governor, you called them Gestapo. Will you apologize for that?
And don't pull people.
Will you apologize for that?
Congressman, my job, I'm a history.
Okay, so you won't.
Democrats called the L.A. riots the Mexican-American War, then changed it to the Civil War, and now they're saying it's actually World War II. And L.A. is just like the beaches of Normandy.
When you compare the old films of the Gestapo grabbing people off the streets of Poland, and you compare them to those nondescript thugs who grabbed that graduated student, it does look like a Gestapo operation. It does look like the Gestapo. You know, my dad served in Second World War. He fought the Nazis in Northern Africa. He fought the Nazis on the Italian peninsula. And I think he's looking down right now and he's happy that I'm fighting today's Nazis.
One Democrat can't decide whether to call ICE Nazis or slave catchers.
If we just roll this clock on the wall back 75 years, we'd be looking at a time in Nazi Germany where people ran around with signs like this new ICE sign that says, report all foreign invaders to ICE, with Uncle Sam there holding up the sign. This could have been a Gestapo member 75 years ago, report all Jews. 100 years before that, it could be a plantation owner that said, report all Negroes and all coloreds and all those who are from Africa, because they are disrupting our country. So let's not get it twisted here.
Do Democrats have anything else to say besides racist Nazi? If I go on Fox, both shows, and call everyone racist Nazis day after day after day, you'd think I'd lost my mind. I'd probably get fired. Homeless guys talk like this. Do Democrats have Tourette's? Nazi, racist, Nazi, racist. They're not even making any sense. They say they only want to deport the criminals, but then they won't hold them in their jails when they get arrested. They release them before ICE can show up. Democrats don't even know who they have in their own states. Hochul just found out she's protecting a rapist.
Do you know who Sakir Khan is? You should, as the governor of New York State. Do you know?
Refresh my recollection.
He was an illegal migrant in New York. And do you know what crime he committed in addition to being here illegally?
No, I do not.
You do not. This was widely reported. He found a 15-year-old girl, threatened her with a metal pole, told her to get into the back seat of his car. He took her clothes off, and he violently raped her in Albany, New York.
Albany is the capital. It's where the governor lives and works, and she's never heard of this case. Jazzy Crockett says, who cares about migrant rapists? She only wants to talk about one thing:
They love to cherry pick. They can find, you know, any one person that has been killed. And if they've been killed by an immigrant, then God darn it, every single immigrant is going out and they are killers. And that is the problem. But they don't want to talk about white supremacy.
We don't want to talk about white supremacy? It's all we've been talking about. Remember, working out's white supremacy. Being on time is white supremacy. Merit is white supremacy. The Redskins logo, yep, white supremacy. And not admitting you're a white supremacist means you're a white supremacist. LA Mayor Karen Bass says she's okay with a few migrant killers on the loose because she just needs a babysitter.
We'll feel it in the construction industry. We'll feel it in hospitality. We'll feel it at grocery stores. People will begin to notice. You think about the mothers who have nannies and housekeepers. They will feel it when there's nobody to do childcare and there's nobody to take their kids to school. You know, you will feel it when your gardener goes away and you don't know where he or she is.
Oh my gosh, my garden. Who's going to water it? There are over 300 million people in this country. I don't think I'll ever be able to find anybody who knows how to use a hose. So Democrats are letting their cities burn, their stores get looted, and they're lunging at federal officials just so they can keep their housekeepers, gardeners, and babysitters. They're calling ICE the Gestapo and Trump a king because they want their berries picked.
No Kings protests planned across the country on Saturday as well. What are your thoughts on those?
What do they go? No Kings?
No Kings.
I don't feel like a king. I have to go through hell to get stuff approved. A king would say, I'm not going to get this. A king would have never had the California mandate to even be talking to him. He wouldn't have to call up Mike Johnson and Thune and say, fellas, you got to pull this off, and after years we get it done. No, we're not a king. We're not a king at all.
A king would have Senator Padilla thrown in a dungeon. But he's not in a dungeon. He sat down with the secretary for a while, and then he held a press conference, and then he went on CNN and MSNBC. If Trump's a king, he's doing a terrible job. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.